We're going to look at some of the basics of Printer's Plan, including the navigation and keywords that you might be interested in learning and the things you'll see in your first week or two. For instance, on this Home tab, here's some information that might be useful when submitting a support request. Information about your computer or the version of your printer's plan. There's also some important information about backing up your database as well as compacting your database. We recommend backing up as often as physically possible. Printer's Plan allows you to back up manually. In addition, we have several people who use third-party backup tools. Those can run automatically. If you have access to a third-party backup tool, that would probably be one of the best methods. However, you can always come in here and back up at any time. The second part is compacting your database. This helps Printer's Plan run quicker, and it brings stability to Printer's Plan as well. You can set up a reminder to compact, and we recommend compacting at least once a week. Printer's Plan has to be closed on all PCs to be able to compact. So go around the shop, close the Printer's Plan, and then open it and compact. Additionally, down here, it will let you know what workstations are connected to your database. And then down in this bottom section, once you're ready to go live with Printer's Plan, we make it easy to delete any payments so that you can practice with that information without having to worry. Once we get to that, we'll walk you through that step. This next tab tells you a little bit about your company information. You'll definitely want to verify this is correct. This shows up on various invoices and emails. Additionally, clicking this button will let you see what optional tools you have available and lets you submit a request for us to change any of this information. These other two buttons down here are just our website. So the first one is our home page. It does have our support number on it, information how to contact us, as well as our support page. The second is just a direct link to the support page. In addition to this, we have a tutorials page. This is located at printersplan.com/tutorials/list. That link will be in the description. There are several tutorials covering each section of the program, and each of them can be printed as well. Moving on to the tabs here, you'll see up here we have some simple navigation from one section of the program to the next. The jobs area, which a job can be an order, a quote, something in the history, or even a template for you to use for additional jobs. Scheduler, which is an optional tool. Time tracker, which is an optional tool. Services, which is where some of your basic processes and workflow is set up. Customers, AR, reports, settings, and My Plan. We're going to go through these not necessarily in order. In the job section, like I mentioned, a job could be an order, a quote, a template, something in history, or even web orders or web quotes. Each of these folders can be opened up like we have here and filtered and navigated through. So here is all of our orders. Here are all of our orders that are on hold. If we double click on any of these, we'll get a more in-depth look into what it looks like inside the job. So this job has two items in it, a brochure and an application. We can see information about who the job is for and anything to do with the totals. Of course, there are several buttons and navigations, and you will learn those as time comes. Feel free to play around with any of this practice data that's in here. You'll see very similar information available to you to utilize for your testing purposes. Quotes are going to be very similar to orders. And here we go. Here's one item with 3 parts, a book. We're going to skip scheduler and time tracker and move on over to services. You may have noticed those items had several sections to them. That's where these services come into play. There are several parts to a job. For instance, the design work, how you design it. Is it an hourly design or a flat rate? What paper is used on the job? Do you run a larger size sheet and cut the sheet down? Do you print it digitally? Or perhaps offset? Cutting to finish size, trimming. Additionally, you can do folding, scoring, perforating, any finishing in here. If I were to open one of these up by double clicking, you'll see it again has quite a bit of information in it for you to customize and configure. Most of these things you'll learn as the time comes, but it really allows you to capture any costs and set up a price that's good for you. The default list of services can also be customized for your shop. We highly recommend coming into this menu here and pull up the service departments and categories. From here, you can delete anything that may not be needed for your company and add new ones or rename them. If you already have color coding, specific names, or maybe you don't even do envelopes. It's possible to rename, hide, or completely delete some of these different categories and set up different departments. Moving on to the Customers tab. For instance, a customer like ABC Company. This customer might have multiple contacts, and those contacts might be the buyers or payers. For instance, ABC Company, we have contact with 4 different people. And Michelle is the default buyer, and Anne is the default payer. Similar to customers, there are prospects. This is just someone who has not had an order yet. Maybe you're still quoting them out. There are some additional sorting methods and tools down here for you to see things like shipping addresses or generate mailing lists. There are a handful of important customer numbers. For instance, customer number 1, typically we set this up as your company. This is used in various places in Printer's Plan for information. So set this up with the information you would like for your company. Number 10 is the default used when you create a new customer. Set this up for some of the typical aspects. For instance, if you always have a net 15 days for anybody, set it to net 15 days. That'll save you just a handful of time when creating new customers. If you're using the integration with a web, this is the web to plan customer when Printer's Plan can't automatically identify if the customer already exists in Printer's Plan. Additionally, there is a generic customer here for customer number 31, which is just a walk-in customer. If you have a lot of walk-in customers, this will build up with a lot of contacts. We're going to jump to the AR section now. Once a job is ready to be shipped and has been shipped, typically the next step would be to post that job. In here we can see we do have some invoices that are ready to be posted, which would allow us to collect on those, or they would populate in invoices paid in full. All of this navigation is available for you to see what payments you might be expecting, what payments you might have received, or even any credits or write-offs. The next section is reports. This is really good for a summary of information. For instance, I might want to see what orders we have to do. So here I can see what might be taking up the most time, what we might be using the most of, and the percentage of our workflow. Additionally, there's a ton of reports in here to really monitor your sales, as well as how your postings are going for your accounting. If there are no reports in here that gather the information that you do want, we also offer the ability to create custom reports. The next tab is for settings. A lot of this configuration may not make sense the first time going through, but will really help you nail down your workflow in Printer's Plan. We recommend just going through here and taking a look. Some of it's very obvious, and additionally, we have documentation that goes over all of these settings. Some of them set up the default operations in Printer's Plan, like what happens when you copy and paste a job, or who are our operators, who are our service reps, who are our vendors. This is a good area to spend a bit of time in, just customizing your Printer's Plan operations to make it work smoothly for your workflow. This next tab, My Plan, is useful for CSRs and sales representatives to monitor their customers and activity throughout their customers. You can choose who you are, and you might want to see all jobs that you've worked on in the past, quotes, or even find some customers. Another tool is Reminders. This is up here in this little flag. This is another optional tool that you may or may not have. Reminders just allow you to get yourself a little reminder for the day. Earlier we skipped two tabs, the scheduler and time tracker. The scheduler has multiple parts to it. For instance, you might just have the job tracker. The job tracker really helps you navigate items of a job and find out where they are, where they might be going. The scheduler is a little bit more in depth and actually lets you track each service within that item and assign it to specific people. So Anna is doing the design of this newsletter, and if Anna were done, she could mark that as being done. Now, we might want to know exactly how long Anna took. The default time for this is 1 hour and 20 minutes. However, it might have taken longer or shorter. That's where Time Tracker comes in. Anna could have that task, and she'd be able to start her workday. That kind of covers most of the tabs in Printer's Plan. Of course, as we've seen here today, a lot of these windows have a lot of in-depth customization, buttons, and uses. Some of that you're free to try out and play and see how it works. We have documentation covering all of the various purposes of these utilities available to you, and all of that will be linked in the description of the video for you. If you have any questions, please reach out to our support team.